Prologue, guys. My friend says I should write a book, How Not to Parent. And she cites this particular story as an example. It's called Family Meeting. When my kids were little, like Bob's Burgers kids' ages, the three of them were 12, 8, and 7, they were hooligans. Lovable with hooligans. And how to keep hooligans occupied on the long car ride. They all loved to be scared, so I went to used bookstop and bought a bunch of books on tape. Goosebumps, Scooby-Doo, Edgar Allan Poe, that type of stuff. And one weekend, my wife was like, you take them, divorced dad, even though we're not divorced, because I'm the fun one. And I said, kids, let's go to the shore for the day. And I car seat 5 people, so I said, who's in the least trouble? Who's child of the week? And it was my middle child, Brian. And they go, who do you want to take, Brian? He goes, Phil. So we drive over to Phil Vecchioli's house. Phil is from Delaware County, Pennsylvania. He's an only child. His parents, Mark and Adele, very protective. They say to me, well, we don't want him to go to the shore for the day. We're getting up early in the morning. I go, it's all cool. Don't worry, you can trust me. We're good. Get in the car. As I'm driving down the road, I realize I've forgotten my cell phone. I'm off the grid for the day. I'm driving down the shore. I'm about 20 minutes from the beach. And my daughter, Sam, is here with me tonight. She's the oldest. She's in the front, 3 boys in the back. She goes, Dad, put the tape on. So I just grab a tape, plug it in, not looking at it. And the story starts. It's a kid moves to Maine. He's lonely. He doesn't know any other kids in the neighborhood. He has this cat named Church, and the cat dies. I go, this is a sad story. We hit the beach. At the beach, my kids say, play Monster, Dad. And that game involves me chasing around these 4 kids wildly, and then other kids join in. And I'm chasing kids, I'm growling, I'm screaming, I'm throwing the water, and they're screaming their lungs off. 2 things about that. 1, it's really tiring. And 2, I don't think you could do it nowadays. All of a sudden, there's a guy growling, kids screaming, chasing around people. So after that, I'm really tired. So I lay down for a second. I go, Sam, watch the boys for a second, just a second. Next thing I know, she's waking me up, go, Dad, it's dark out. I'm like, oh my God. I've slept for the day. I said, kids, in the car. And whenever I want my kids to move fast, I go back to Halloween. I'm going, time is candy. Let's go, go, go. In the car. I get in the car. We decide I take the back way back from Jersey, the dark roads, through the Pine Barrens. It's dark, it's desolate, there's no one else on the road. I'm driving along, and my daughter Sam says, Dad, put the tape on. I put the tape on, and I daydream. I'm thinking I'm Steve McQueen. I don't know a movie where he had 4 kids in the car, but I'm Steve McQueen driving the car the next 40 minutes, 30 minutes or so. When I start to listen back to the story, it's taken this horrible turn. The cat is now back alive, the kid is dead, and his dad is carrying the kid to a graveyard. I look in the rearview mirror, Phil Vecchioli, eyes are bracing, there's no color in his face, in the backseat is trembling. I said, Phil, is this scaring you? He goes, oh, a little bit. I go, I'm sorry, Phil. I turn this thing off. My kids go nuts. Dad, what is wrong with you? Phil, you wimp. And they start yelling at me. And then I get mad. I go, family meeting. I pull over the side of the road, park in these woods. Kids out of the car. Phil, stay in the car. I got the idea of family meeting from my friend who says, we decide things as a family. They have these 2 perfectly behaved daughters. If we want to go on vacation, I say, where would you like to go? And they go, we would like to go to Disney World. Well, we would like to go to Colonial Williamsburg. And then they hit the 2-2 vote, and we just say, oh, we'll go to Williamsburg this year and Disney World next year. Hooray. That's their family meeting. Every family meeting I've ever had turned out like this. I go, what is wrong with you kids? Sam says, you're the one who picked the tape. Good point. Brian says, if Phil doesn't hear the end of this tape, he's going to be terrified. Good point. And Jack says, if we don't get to the Vecchioli soon, they're going to call the police. And I go, no one's calling the police. And then all 3 kids who are wise asses start going, wee-o, wee-o, wee-o. And as I'm arguing with these 3 Saul Goodmans, I look back at the car and realize that Phil Vecchioli has been sitting in the dark at the side of the road this whole argument, seeing this animated discussion where for all he knows, we're arguing about where we're going to bury this kid. I get back in the car. Family meeting over. In the car. I go, Phil, first off, I made a mistake. Secondly, it turns out it's all a dream, the story. Nothing to worry about. You ever saw The Wizard of Oz? Just like that. He goes, The Wizard of Oz had those flying monkeys. It was so scary. My kids are like, good one, Dad. I go, stop it. And go, Phil, there's absolutely no reason to tell your parents about this. We pull into the driveway. The Vecchiolis are standing in the driveway. Their only child. They've been waiting. I pull up. Phil runs out of the car, jumps in his mom's arms, goes, Mr. Carmody played the scariest book in the world for me. Mr. Vecchioli, stocky guy, comes right up to me. He goes, what book did you play for my son? And I go, it was something by Stephen King. And he goes, Stand By Me? And I go, no, that would have been a good choice. It wasn't Stand By Me. And then Phil says, it was this thing with pets in a graveyard. It was terrifying. And Mr. Vecchioli goes, you played Pet Cemetery? One of the scariest stories ever for my 8-year-old son? And I go, Mark, to be fair, I didn't know what it was about. He goes, what did you think? It's Marley and Me? Air Bud? Epilogue. 10 years to the day after this, I pick up a newspaper. Our high school, Westchester Ruston, had made the state football championships. They were led by their captain, all-league, vicious lineman. I said, wow, I'm reading down the article. I see a picture of this bruiser. I look down at his name, Phil Vecchioli. Now, what caused this transformation? Some people could say years of training. Some people could say diet and exercise. I prefer to think there's a little stellar co-parenting and a trip to the Jersey store with the aid of Stephen King.